1861. The very mention of that year evokes images of blue against gray, brother against brother. A nation forged in liberty found itself teetering on the precipice of destruction. The issue of slavery, a festering wound on the soul of America, had finally ripped the country asunder. From the bustling cities of the North to the quiet plantations of the South, families were torn apart. The Stars and Stripes, once a symbol of unity and hope, was now a banner of division replaced in some hearts by the newly sewn Confederate stars and bars. This was a time when ideologies clashed, and the very future of a nation hung precariously in the balance. The conflict, initially perceived by many as a passing storm, quickly escalated into a full-blown tempest. As the drums of war beat louder with each passing day, the nation braced itself for a fight that would determine its destiny, a fight that would test the very fabric of its being. In the annals of this tumultuous period, the Battle of Wilson's Creek stands out as a pivotal moment, a clash that would have far-reaching consequences. Little did the people of this fledgling nation know that this battle, fought in the heartland of America, would become a microcosm of the larger conflict, a brutal and bloody affair that would leave an indelible mark on the national psyche. Missouri, a land of rolling hills, fertile plains, and mighty rivers, found itself caught in the vortex of this national crisis. As a border state, its loyalties were torn. Within its borders lived families who had long benefited from the institution of slavery, while others held fast to the ideal of a free nation, indivisible and united. The tension was palpable, a suffocating blanket of uncertainty that hung heavy in the air. Neighbor eyed neighbor with suspicion, and old friendships crumbled under the weight of conflicting allegiances. Missouri, once a symbol of westward expansion and the promise of a new life, was now a powder keg, primed and ready to explode. In the taverns and town squares, heated debates raged between those who supported secession and those who remained loyal to the Union. The air crackled with an undercurrent of fear and anticipation, a sense that violence was inevitable. The storm clouds of war were gathering, and Missouri found itself directly in their path. How would Missouri, a state so deeply divided, navigate this treacherous path? Would it succumb to the rising tide of secession, or would it stand firm with the Union? The answers to these questions and the fate of Missouri itself would be determined on the blood-soaked fields of Wilson's Creek. Nestled amidst the rugged Ozark Mountains of southwestern Missouri, Wilson's Creek was a place of serene beauty. Its clear, flowing waters and verdant meadows belied the storm that was about to break. This tranquil setting would soon become a battleground, where the fate of Missouri would be decided. The summer of 1861 was a time of simmering tension. Rumors of troop movements filled the air. People went about their daily lives with a sense of foreboding. Two opposing forces were converging on this unsuspecting corner of Missouri. As the sun began its slow descent, whispers of war filled the air. The stage was set for a confrontation with far-reaching consequences. Nathaniel Lyon, a man of fierce determination and unwavering loyalty to the United States, nicknamed the Lion of the Union for his fiery temperament and aggressive tactics. He secured the vital Union arsenal at St. Louis, thwarting Confederate attempts. This decisive action earned him both praise and scorn. As commander of the Union forces in Missouri, Lyon felt the weight of responsibility. He knew the fate of the state could hinge on his actions. Lyon decided to take the offensive, hoping to strike a decisive blow. Franz Sigel, a German immigrant and veteran of the European revolutions of 1848, cut a dashing figure with his neatly trimmed beard and piercing gaze. A skilled strategist and tactician, Sigel had quickly risen through the ranks of the Union Army, earning the respect of his men and the admiration of his superiors. Tasked with leading a flanking maneuver to block the Confederate retreat at Wilson's Creek, Sigel faced a daunting challenge. His force, smaller and less experienced than the main Union force under Lyon, would have to traverse difficult terrain and arrive at their destination at the precise moment to trap the Confederates. Sigel, ever the pragmatist, knew that the success of Lyon's plan hinged on the precise timing and execution of his flanking maneuver. He pored over maps, studying the terrain and plotting the best route for his troops. He drilled his men relentlessly, instilling in them the discipline and precision needed for the perilous task ahead. Yet, despite his meticulous planning, Sigel couldn't shake off a nagging sense of unease. The Confederate forces, though outnumbered, were fighting on their home ground and led by experienced commanders. He knew that even the slightest miscalculation could spell disaster for his men and jeopardize the entire Union campaign in Missouri. As he prepared his troops for the march, Sigel couldn't help but wonder if he was leading them into a trap. Arrayed against Lyon and Sigel was a formidable Confederate force led by two men of vastly different backgrounds and temperaments, Sterling Price and Benjamin McCulloch. Price, a former governor of Missouri and a hero of the Mexican-American War, was a charismatic leader known for his compassion and his ability to inspire his troops. Price, nicknamed the Swamp Fox for his cunning and elusiveness on the battlefield, had initially opposed secession but had thrown his lot in with the Confederacy after Union forces clashed with Missouri State Guard troops in June 1861. His presence lent legitimacy and popular appeal to the Confederate cause in Missouri, rallying thousands of volunteers to his banner. Price, a firm believer in the Southern way of life, saw the war as a struggle for states' rights and self-determination. He was a reluctant warrior, but once committed to a cause, he fought with tenacity and resolve. As the Confederate commander in Missouri, Price faced the daunting task of defending the state against a larger and better-equipped Union force. He knew that he couldn't hope to win a war of attrition, so he had to choose his battles carefully, relying on his knowledge of the terrain and the fighting spirit of his men to even the odds. Benjamin McCulloch, a veteran Texas Ranger and Indian fighter, was a man of action, known for his courage and his skill in wilderness warfare. A towering figure with a rugged, weather-beaten face, McCulloch had a reputation as a fearless leader, but he was also a man of contradictions, torn between his loyalty to his adopted state of Texas and his desire to avoid a bloody conflict. McCulloch, a veteran of numerous campaigns against the Comanches and other Native American tribes, was a master of guerrilla warfare, but he had little experience commanding large armies in conventional battles. He had initially been reluctant to bring his Texan troops into Missouri, fearing that it would escalate the conflict, but he had eventually relented, persuaded by the pleas of Missouri's secessionist leaders. McCulloch, a pragmatist at heart, knew that the Confederate forces in Missouri were outmatched in numbers and firepower. He favored a defensive strategy, hoping to wear down the Union forces through a war of attrition and exploit any opportunities for a counterattack. However, McCulloch's cautious approach clashed with Price's more aggressive instincts, creating a rift between the two Confederate commanders. This difference of opinion would have significant consequences as the battle for Missouri unfolded. As the summer of 1861 wore on, tension in southwestern Missouri thickened like the humid air before a thunderstorm. Lyon's Union forces, marching south from Springfield, were closing in on the Confederate encampment at Wilson's Creek. Price and McCulloch faced a crucial decision: stand and fight or withdraw. Price favored an aggressive approach. He argued for a surprise attack. McCulloch counseled a strategic retreat. The debate raged late into the night. In the end, Price's boldness won out. The decision was made to meet the Union forces head-on at Wilson's Creek. The days leading up to the Battle of Wilson's Creek were fraught with tension and uncertainty. Both sides, their nerves on edge, probed each other's defenses, seeking any advantage in the rugged Missouri terrain. The sweltering summer heat hung heavy in the air, adding to the oppressive atmosphere. On August 9th, a twist of fate nearly brought the two armies into a premature collision. A Union foraging party led by the intrepid Captain Joseph B. Plummer stumbled upon a Confederate detachment under the command of Captain Alexander C. Flournoy near the hamlet of Doug Springs. The encounter was as sudden as it was unexpected, both sides caught off guard by the sudden appearance of the enemy. A brief but fierce firefight erupted, the sharp crackle of musketry echoing through the surrounding woods. The element of surprise, however, quickly dissipated as both sides scrambled for cover and attempted to regroup. Plummer, outnumbered and outmaneuvered, ordered his men to withdraw, melting back into the dense undergrowth. The skirmish at Doug Springs, though brief and inconclusive, had far-reaching consequences. It alerted both Lyon and Price to the proximity of their respective forces, shattering any illusions of stealth or surprise. The fog of war was lifting, revealing a battlefield on the brink of a much larger and bloodier confrontation. Following the skirmish at Doug Springs, Lyon found himself at a crossroads. The element of surprise, so crucial to his plan of a swift and decisive victory, had been compromised. The Confederates were now fully aware of his presence and would undoubtedly be prepared for a Union attack. Lyon, known for his boldness and decisiveness, hesitated. The reasons for his delay are still debated by historians to this day. Some argue that he was concerned about the exhaustion of his troops, who had been marching for days under the scorching Missouri sun. Others speculate that he was waiting for reinforcements, hoping to bolster his forces before launching an assault on the Confederate camp. Whatever the reason, Lyon's delay would prove to be a costly miscalculation. Every hour that passed gave Price and McCulloch more time to consolidate their forces and prepare their defenses. The Confederate commanders, initially divided in their strategic outlook, now found common ground in the face of a common enemy. As the hours ticked by, the tension in both camps mounted. The soldiers, weary from their long marches and the oppressive heat, could sense that a major battle was imminent. The fate of Missouri, and perhaps even the nation, hung in the balance. On the evening of August 9th, an eerie calm settled over the rolling hills and fields surrounding Wilson's Creek. The opposing armies, separated by a few short miles, had settled into their respective camps, the smoke from their cook fires mingling in the still summer air. Despite the proximity of the enemy, an unspoken truce held sway. Both sides, exhausted from the day's marches and skirmishes, welcomed the respite, however brief it might be. The soldiers, their faces etched with fatigue and apprehension, tended to their weapons, wrote letters home, and shared what meager rations they had with their comrades. The silence, however, was deceptive. Beneath the veneer of tranquility, a current of tension ran deep. Pickets on both sides kept a wary eye on the enemy's movements, their fingers never straying far from their triggers. The slightest sound, a cough, a rustle in the undergrowth, was enough to send a jolt of adrenaline through the ranks. In their respective headquarters tents, Lyon and Price finalized their battle plans. Both commanders knew that the coming dawn would bring with it a confrontation that would test the mettle of their men and shape the destiny of Missouri. As darkness descended over Wilson's Creek, the uneasy truce began to unravel. Both sides sent out patrols into the night. Brief but intense skirmishes erupted along the fringes of the camps. The darkness amplified every sound, creating chaos and terror. These clashes took a toll on morale. Soldiers were unnerved by unseen enemies. As the night wore on, the skirmishes subsided. The coming dawn promised no respite. It would bring the full fury of battle. As dawn pierced the mist on August 10, 1861, the two armies prepared for battle. The air crackled with tension. Lyon rallied his troops, reminding them of their cause. He urged them to show no mercy to the rebels. Across the battlefield, Price and McCulloch prepared their men. They spoke of courage and sacrifice. Confederate soldiers gripped their muskets tightly. The stage was set, the actors in place. The fate of Missouri hung in the balance. The Battle of Wilson's Creek was about to begin. The morning of August 10, 1861, dawned hot and humid. The sun beat down on Wilson's Creek. Shortly after 5 a.m., artillery fire shattered the silence. Union cannons on Bloody Hill marked the beginning of a bloody day. The Battle of Wilson's Creek had begun. Confederate troops, many untested, were caught off guard. Some panicked, others returned fire with a vengeance. The Union focused on capturing Sharp's Hill. Lyon believed seizing this position would control the battle. But the Confederates were determined to hold their ground. The fight for Sharp's Hill was fierce and unrelenting. Union and Confederate troops clashed in a maelstrom of musket fire. The ground ran slick with blood. Union troops, led by Captain Frederick Steele, charged repeatedly. Confederates, inspired by Colonel Louis Hébert, fought fiercely. The air was thick with gunpowder, sweat, and death. Artillery fire shook the ground. For hours, the battle ebbed and flowed. Each side fought tenaciously, unwilling to yield. The fate of Missouri hung in the balance. As the battle for Sharp's Hill peaked, hope appeared for the Union. Franz Sigel launched a surprise attack on the Confederate rear. The Confederates were caught off guard. Sigel's attack threw the Confederate lines into disarray. For a moment, it seemed Lyon's gamble had paid off, But Confederate commanders reacted swiftly. Price rallied his troops, McCulloch counterattacked. Sigel's attack crumbled into chaos. His troops were forced to retreat. Lyon's main force was left isolated. With Sigel's collapse, the tide turned for the Confederates. Lyon realized his plan had failed. His forces were in danger of being surrounded. Yet Lyon refused to yield. He led a desperate counterattack. Twice he charged the Confederate lines. During the second charge, Lyon was mortally wounded. He slumped in his saddle, his lifeblood staining the ground. Lyon's death shocked the Union ranks. Their leader was gone. The Union troops began a fighting retreat. The Confederate victory at Wilson's Creek came at a heavy price. Both sides suffered heavy casualties. The ground bore mute testimony to the savagery of the fighting. The Confederate commanders couldn't pursue the retreating Union forces. Their ranks were depleted, supplies low, and men exhausted. They had won the battle, but the war was far from over. The battle sent shockwaves throughout the nation. It was the first major battle west of the Mississippi River. The Union defeat shattered illusions of a quick victory. For Missouri, the battle had far-reaching consequences. The Confederate victory gave them control of much of the state. The battle plunged Missouri deeper into civil war. As the sun set, a heavy silence settled over Wilson's Creek. The sounds of battle faded, replaced by haunting stillness. The air hung heavy with sorrow and uncertainty. The ground bore mute testimony to the terrible price of war. Survivors contemplated the day's events and the uncertain future. The victory came at a terrible cost. The war was only just beginning. The battle left an indelible mark on the landscape and hearts of those who fought. The Confederate war effort was hampered by clashing personalities. Sterling Price was a charismatic leader, eager to fight. Benjamin McCulloch advocated a cautious approach. This schism manifested in the crucial hours before the battle. Price pushed for an immediate attack. McCulloch counseled restraint. The debate raged late into the night. In the end, Price's arguments won. The decision was made to meet the Union forces head-on. The victory came at a cost, exacerbated by initial discord. Had McCulloch's counsel prevailed, might the outcome have been more decisive? The questions linger, a testament to the impact of leadership and unity. The divided command serves as a reminder of the importance of unity. Even the most valiant efforts can be undermined by internal discord. As the battle raged, a golden opportunity presented itself for the Union. Franz Sigel launched a surprise attack on the Confederate rear. For a moment, it seemed Lyon's gamble had paid off. However, the tide of battle turned swiftly. Sigel's attack faltered due to tactical miscalculations and a case of mistaken identity. Sigel hesitated, allowing the Confederates to regroup. Sigel's troops were forced to retreat. The rout of Sigel's force shifted the momentum to the Confederates. Had Sigel's attack succeeded, might Lyon's main force have prevailed? The what-ifs linger, a testament to the capricious nature of war. The fog of war often leads to tragic misjudgments that can alter history. The Battle of Wilson's Creek was fraught with miscommunication and miscalculation, leading to unintended and often tragic consequences. One such instance involved the death of General Lyon himself. As Lyon led a counterattack, he was struck by a bullet and mortally wounded. The news of his death did not reach his commanders for some time. This delay deprived the Union forces of clear leadership at a pivotal moment. Had Major Sturgis known sooner, he might have rallied the troops. A coordinated withdrawal could have minimized casualties and preserved fighting strength. The delayed news also had a profound psychological impact on the Union forces. Lyon had inspired his men, instilling in them a belief in their cause. His death cast a pall over the Union ranks, further demoralizing the troops. The fog of war amplifies miscommunications, turning minor setbacks into major defeats. Nathaniel Lyon was a fiery Unionist who believed in seizing the initiative. His decision to divide his forces at Wilson's Creek epitomized his aggressive nature. Lyon's gamble, though resulting in a Union defeat and his own death, was not without merit. He understood the strategic importance of Missouri. However, Lyon's audacity was also his undoing. By dividing his forces, he took a calculated risk that backfired. Could a more cautious approach have yielded a different outcome? The debate over Lyon's tactics continues to this day. Was Lyon's gamble reckless or bold? The answers are lost to the mists of time. What remains is the legacy of Lyon's gamble, a stark reminder of war's terrible cost. The Battle of Wilson's Creek was a tapestry woven from countless threads of decision and chance. It's tempting to revisit those pivotal moments, to ponder the what-ifs that haunt every battlefield. What if Price and McCulloch had been unable to overcome their strategic differences? What if Sigel had recognized the approaching Missouri State Guard as hostile forces? What if Lyon had chosen prudence over audacity? These counterfactuals remain exercises in speculation. They cannot alter history nor erase the sacrifices made. They remind us that battles hinge on seemingly insignificant moments. The Battle of Wilson's Creek remains a pivotal moment in the conflict. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long, eerie shadows across the ravaged landscape of Wilson's Creek. The smoke from 1,000 campfires, a testament to the day's carnage, drifted skyward. Victory belonged to the Confederacy, but it tasted like ashes in their mouths. The human cost was staggering. Over 1,000 men lay dead. Thousands more were wounded, their futures uncertain. Among the fallen was General Nathaniel Lyon, his dream of a united nation extinguished. They had proven their mettle, but the price of victory left an indelible mark. The war for Missouri, and for the soul of a nation, was far from over. The Battle of Wilson's Creek, a significant Confederate victory, was just one chapter in Missouri's bloody struggle. Missouri, divided by loyalties, became a battleground where brother fought brother. The echoes of cannon fire ignited a conflict that scarred the land and its people. Confederate forces, led by Sterling Price, consolidated their hold on southwestern Missouri. Price rallied Missourians to the Confederate cause, forming a formidable force. The Union, however, was far from defeated. Reinforcements bolstered the Union Army, setting the stage for more battles. The war raged across Missouri, a relentless struggle with no clear victor. The Battle of Wilson's Creek, fought on Missouri soil, sent shockwaves throughout the nation. News of the Confederate victory and General Lyon's death reverberated through Congress, Richmond, and northern cities. The war would be long and bloody, testing the resolve of both North and South. The Union defeat was a wake-up call for the Lincoln administration. The North faced a determined enemy, fighting for survival on its own soil. In the South, the victory emboldened the secessionist cause. The Confederate government stepped up diplomatic efforts to secure European support. Wilson's Creek became a pivotal moment in the Civil War, exposing deep national divisions. Decades have passed since the guns fell silent at Wilson's Creek, but the echoes of that fateful August day continue to reverberate. The battlefield, now a national park, stands as a reminder of the terrible toll of war. The weathered headstones bear silent witness to the human cost of the conflict. The names etched in stone speak to the shared sacrifice of a nation divided. It reminds us that history is a living narrative, its lessons as relevant today as they were in the 1860s. Wilson's Creek challenges us to confront the legacy of the past and strive for a future of understanding and compassion. Amidst the carnage and chaos, acts of extraordinary courage and sacrifice unfolded. Men from all walks of life fought with conviction, their actions a testament to belief, loyalty, and brotherhood. Union soldiers, inspired by General Lyon, charged into Confederate defenses. Confederate troops stood firm, defending their homes and way of life. Stories of individual heroism at Wilson's Creek transcend political divides. The Battle of Wilson's Creek stands as a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. To see more battles from the American Civil War, click the playlist that's on your screen, and thanks for watching.